So, welcome back. I know content's been slow recently. There's been a lot going on. Work's been really, really busy. I know I keep saying that, but I am just very busy all the time. However, with a massive rush up before Download Festival, you'll notice I am very pink. My hair is very faded. I'm sniffling. I'm festival flu. I'm not doing well, but we're going to keep the content rolling anyway. And this time, we're going to talk about wheels. So with the truck, which is way over there, some of you may have seen now that the truck is running, the engine's in. I've got a big update coming on that soon. There's been a lot of work gone into making that work. But for now, I need to fit 15s to the back. Can't fit them to the front. Some of you may know other cool little trucks that are out there, like the Sonax build. Chris from Sonax has got a really cool little Daihatsu Hijet. That's running 15s. However, he has showed me how much he had to cut from the inner arches at the front. He's had to cut the door, the arch, do the weather sealing. There's a lot missing. I don't want to do that. I could scan the truck and 3D print a body kit for it, but to be honest, it's so much work and I don't want to cut so much away because it's just asking for the truck to get full of water. It's asking for it to get misted up. So I don't want to do that. So what are my options? Well, if I change axles, I'll need to find one that's 4x114 to match the front wheels, or I have to change the front wheels. If I'm going to change the stud pattern at the rear, I'll have mismatched wheels because the wheels that I've got, these CoPro Limlex, they're old rare wheels from the 1980s and you can't get them in the stud pattern like 4x100. So then what do? I could go 15s all round, get a set of matching 15s, but then the problem I've got is these bad boys, the Accelera 351 GDs, which coincidentally enough, I got them from Tyre Streets UK, as I do with all my tyres these days. Little shout out if you want 10% off, use discount code P3LWO. But I get all my tyres from them, all my semi-slicks for drifting, for track time and everything. The problem is they don't do semi-slicks in 14s. So if I want to put the power through a semi-slick at the rear, how do I fit them at the front? So I've had the genius idea that I'm going to get two wheels for the rear that match the stud pattern as the fronts, but have a good enough base that we can then design an Aerodisc. And of course, we're going to be doing that with the Einstar VEGA. What else? It's the only 3D scanner that I've been using recently. This thing's been unbeatable in terms of portability and for accuracy. I've made loads of parts with it too. So using this little guy, and I've got a plan. And what's that plan I hear you ask? Well, some of you are going to hate me for this, but we have these. Before anybody goes, oh no, Japan Racing's blah, 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 blah. It's a cheap little truck. What do you want? Like, I'm not spending thousands on silly wheels for it. I did have those works I was going to fit. They're obviously too big, so this is what we're going to go with. But I'm going to show you why. So my health and safety executive is going to be so happy about this. Kinda like that. And then kinda like that. There we go. Ooh. Big strong muscles. I'm surprised I've got any energy left after download. That was the hardest week of my life. The most fun I've ever had. But I am so tired and you can tell by my voice. Again, apologies for sounding really ill, but this is just what we're dealing with. And there we go. One lovely white 15x7.5 Japan Racing JR12. Now you may be asking yourself, why would I pick these when they look nothing like these? There's for a couple of reasons. Firstly, they were cheap. Also a little bit wider. We're going from a 165 on the CoPro to a 195 on the Japan Racing wheel. But mainly, it's white. As you'll notice, the old wheels are white as well. Not only is it white, it also has some dish. So what we're going to do, using a Vega, is we're going to scan the wheel, get the shape of the spokes, find our clearance areas at the back, and then put an Aerodisc over the top. Now, I've done this before. I don't know if you remember. In fact, I'm going to put it on screen if I can find pictures. Don't know if you remember, but I did this with my GR Yaris and I 3D printed adapters, which held up absolutely fine doing triple digit figures. It held Aerodiscs on, but I did use the Rotiform Aerodiscs at the time. This is going to be the first time making completely new ones, but I'm going to make sure that they fit this wheel, but look like this from the outside. It'll be a challenge, but I'm confident the Vega will do well. Obviously with wheels having repeating patterns, it's just one constant pattern, 6 spokes. There's not much in the way of defining kind of geometry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the tracking dots yet again to here. And we're going to use the accurate HD mode on the scanner because we want to get this as accurate as possible to get tolerance as tight as possible when it sits inside this lip. So hopefully we can make this look like this, and then everybody can give me abuse for having Japan Racing wheels. I don't really care. It's a tiny little truck. So let's get the table cleared. We'll get this little guy set up, ready for scanning, get this one out of the way, and then we'll see what the Vega can do. So it's the same story as a few scans that I've done by now. Because this doesn't have defining features, we need to put these tracking dots on just to help the scanner to see where it's going. The fact it's white means the scanner should pick it up absolutely fine. And just like before, we You need to make sure these are arranged in a regular pattern. If you were, for instance, to scan one spoke and move your way around, it would think by the time it gets to here that you're still scanning that one spoke, because this is just repeating geometry, which is no good for it. Oh my god, I am so ill. So when I actually scanned the front end of the truck, I wanted to scan the dash to make that gauge pod. I actually scanned it through the windscreen. Because it's clear, the scanner just didn't even see it, which was great. I could put the scanner right up close to the glass, scan through, get the rear side of the dash without having to remove it from the truck. So there's a top tip for you if you want to scan through anything. And that's actually thanks to a bloke called Ding Dong Drift. He's using the same scanner too, and if you don't know him, he is building a mad car. He's much further along than me, and he's basically building an entire body kit with cameras for mirrors and aero built into the wheel arches. And I mean, this guy's got effectively a print farm set up compared to me. I've only got one printer, which slows down my productivity, but he's doing the kind of things that I want to do. So if you don't know him, go check him out. His videos are brilliant if you want to get into this kind of thing. So I think that should be enough tracking dots. Let's get the scanner. Something else I'm going to do, because I'm an absolute genius, and you'll see why in a second, is I'm going to tape up the back of these gaps. And the reason I've done this is because when I scan this will give me texture or geometry for it to pick up around the insides. Because these gaps here are so big, what's happening is that as you scan over it, you don't have any tracking dots in the middle. So trying to get from there across to there, you have to go around the outside, but then if you lose tracking along there or around here, it's trying to get the two ends to meet up, and I can't get that full window in the same picture on HD mode. So if you have these bits in the middle, it means that when I'm scanning across the gaps, it's going to pick that up. And I'll still have geometry for the scanner to pick up as I'm moving around. And the way I'm going to do it, having not had a lazy Susan, is stick it on the truck. Now, normally people would use a turntable or something. I don't have one big enough to hold the wheel, but by putting it on the axle, nice and squeaky because it's not moved in a while. By putting it on the axle, I can sit the scanner at the side, revolve the wheel round, and have the scanner the same distance all the way around the wheel as it's turning. So I've got the scanner on the little tripod, the wheel is mounted to the hub, and this is in neutral, so I can turn this as well. So, quick setup, we've got it set up for marker alignment, and it's going to grab the textures too, so we can get a nice shiny gloss white wheel in our 3D model. Just going to hit start, hold it nice and steady, and we're going to start rotating this around. I'm hoping this is going to do a great job of picking up all the tracking dots at the same distance the entire time and get a nice consistent model. If this works, I am so proud of myself for thinking of doing this. But we'll find out together. We can pause if we need to get more detail, just take it nice and slow. If we need to pick up more dots, we can wait for it. There we go. And then you can see on the model, the tape here is helping to pick up some detail in these gaps in the middle. So when it comes to repositioning, it will be able to use that tape as geometry to reference as well. And then once we've got enough tracking dots and it aligns, hopefully. So it's going to pick up these ones at the edge here. Perfect. Look at that. So you're nice and aligned. Beautiful. So then we're going to reposition and we're going to piece together another scan. Pain with these dots is there's so many of them when you're trying to do an HD scan. It's going to take me ages to peel them back off again, but so this will be more of a challenge now, because now I need to pick up the dots on the outside, but try and work my way in to catch the spokes, which could prove to be a challenge, but we'll find out. And now this tape will hopefully start to be features to track. And get away from the tracking dots, like so. So you'll see the tracking dots disappeared off screen there. I didn't have any in view. But because of that tape in the gap in the middle, it's allowed me to move across, pick up those dots on that side. So that's worked quite nicely. Happy with that. And now we have a bit more freedom to move around. Catch all these little details. Again, for what I'm doing, I don't really need to, but whilst we're here, we may as well have a little scan. Remember, we've always got the option here of spinning the wheel like so as well to move to new areas. So you don't have to move the scanner. Sometimes you can move the object and it gives you the same effect. I think that's going to be us. So let's just hit complete. Delete a few frames at the end there because it lost tracking as I kind of moved my hands around to finish up. And let's see how we're looking. And there we have it. One Japan Racing JR12 wheel face. in all its reppy glory. You see we've got the edges here. It doesn't really know what to do with the edges here in the point clouds. So that's just noise from where the lip kind of curves around the edge, where your tyre goes on. It doesn't really know what to do with that, but that's fine. We've got 2 wheel nuts in there. The other 2 holes haven't got anything in. We've got the cap picked up. We've got some texture and some colour. So let's go to resolution, high, yep, mesh smoothness. All good, fill markers turned on. And let's hit apply. And here is our completed mesh. So only issue I've spotted, these 2 little dots here. For some reason when it's removed all the marker dots, you can see the rest of them aren't even on there. But when it's removed them, it's left a couple of holes. Again, not a massive deal. That's something that can easily be smoothed out in something like Mesh Mixer. Only 1 tyre hole, which is good, because with repeating geometry like this, especially in a circle, sometimes it may lose tracking, or this kind of may lose tracking, and that tyre hole could end up appearing here, 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 here. It's not, it's in one place. It's nice and round, got a nice clean lip on it. I've got all the spoke details on the top so that I can start building a dish into there that fits, and it'll look like the CoPro wheels. So something I forgot to mention as well is the texture mapping. I did mention it earlier, didn't show it on here. That's now processing. That's going to be probably about 10 minutes or so. So we're going to let that run. We'll get back to the unit, get this back on charge so it's not wasting the battery. It's not going to die on me whilst I'm doing this. Just for information's sake, this has probably taken about half an hour and it's used about 50% of the battery, which is okay. Like, there's a lot of detail on this. It took a lot more effort than most things that I've scanned. This one, with it being such a regular pattern, it's been difficult to get enough tracking dots in that frame of view to be able to scan the full thing and make the ends meet. I've tried with things in the past with other scanners where you try and scan in a circle, and what happens is you do circle, get back round to the start, but then that's misaligned with where you started from, and then it overlaps, and then what you'll find is the spokes then start to overlap, so each spoke will then be slightly off center. This hasn't done that, thankfully, so I'm really pleased with that. It just has taken a little bit more setup time and a bit more scanning time, but 50% of the battery, that's fine. Stick it back on charge, it doesn't take long, and you can go again. And here we are back at the unit, and you can see the texture mapping is done. We've got a nice glossy white face. You can see all the stickers that are on it. There are a lot. And it's even picked up the JR cap in the middle. Now, because that's black, it struggled to get around the edges. If I wanted that, I could have sprayed that with the A-sub scanning spray. I didn't need it though, it's not for what I'm doing. But there's the wheel, looks pretty good to me. So I've got plenty of detail there. I can pop this onto StarVision, get some stuff measured, just double check the accuracy, and then I think we are good to go. So there's our Vega connected to the PC via cable, and there is our scan. So you can see here we can turn on or off texture mapping. So that is our completed mesh. So we'll get this imported to our workspace, we'll do some measuring, and then we'll compare to the actual wheel. And here we are in StarVision on the PC. So thankfully Windows 11 update went fine. I've got OBS installed now so I can start doing screen recordings rather than having to try and film the screen whilst doing things. You'll see a bit better as well what I'm doing. So this is the mesh. We've created a new workspace, imported the mesh into StarVision, and you can turn the textures off and on with this little button down the bottom here. So we'll keep it in that view for now. One of the things that I want to do is to check the accuracy of the full wheel. So we're going to measure across the full length, and for that I'm going to go to the measure tool on the left, go to distance, and we want to kind of go across the spokes across the middle of the wheel. So from there to there, 414.6 millimeters. And what we can also do for posterity's sake as well is we can take a measurement across one of these spokes. So from there to there, I reckon it's 36.4 millimeters. This is the other wheel, so obviously it's not the same wheel, but this should be exactly the same anyway. And we said 414.6. You can see here it is sitting on 414 point something. That's pretty darn close. That's going across the spokes, across the middle of the wheel, where we measured it on the software, which is good. And then for a spoke, I think we said it was 36.4 millimeters. So this is zeroed. .37, 0.3 millimeter accuracy, which I'm pretty happy with. So, got there eventually. It did take getting Festival Flu from download, getting sunburn, having a broken PC, which decided to die at the worst possible time. Thankfully, I saved all my data. It's all backed up, so it wasn't too much of a deal to get a new hard drive and get Windows reinstalled. I do now have Windows 11 though, so we can screen record, use OBS, and hopefully show you more of the processes if that's the kind of thing that you want to see. As for this, it's going to be another cliffhanger. And I know I keep doing this, and I know that I keep saying
come back for part 2 and then don't do a part 2. There is a reason for that. I am very, very busy. I have a lot of stuff that needs 3D printed at the moment, so I don't really have time to start making my own parts. The business obviously comes first, and I need to make sure customer orders are fulfilled. When I get a window to actually start making stuff, I will start making more stuff. I promise you. Like, soon, we will have some more stuff to show, some cool stuff. But for now, this is again about the scanning process. The obstacles that I've come across, like with trying to do the HD scan on something that's quite big, using the axle as a turntable was a great idea, to be honest. I'm really proud of that. Came out with a really accurate scan, sub-millimeter accuracy, even across 410, 415 millimeters. Happy with that. So thank you once again for coming. There will be a part 2 coming at some point when I start to design the Aerodisc and print it and test fit it. That will come, I swear, I promise. And there will also be more updates about the truck. So that is running now. It's not road legal yet. It still needs a couple of things to get it back on the road. However, I'll have a big update coming soon. Thank you once again for hanging about. I'd really do appreciate you guys being here. Drop a like, drop a comment, whatever you want to do. Oh yeah, hopefully I'll not be ill next time too. I am so ill. I just want to go to bed. This has been a struggle. Bye.